Welcome to this overview video for governing body admins. I'm going to show you how to log in, navigate the new system, and also walk you through some of the setup steps so you can go in and set up, get yourself started in the new season. So I'm right here at the Trackwrestling homepage. I'm going to click on Manage, and then Season Teams. Select my season. I'm going to be working with this high school boys season mostly, but you'll also notice I have a couple different tabs open just to be able to illustrate a few points along the way. I'll click Log In, type my username and then my password, and I can log into the system. Now you'll notice the first time in there's going to be a couple of prompts that come up. One is to verify your email. Just click the send email and we can verify that it is actually your email. The other one that you don't see here but you will in most cases is going to be just a verification of the information we have on file. Phone number, address, that sort of thing. So make sure you go through that, save that information. That should only be your first time through. As long as you're talking about account information, here's a blue link up here, a blue button up here for my account. If I click here and go to edit account, you'll see this page that you'll probably see pop up in most cases. This is where you're going to enter your information. You can, adjust some of this information, click save, and then after the first time through, you shouldn't see that anymore. The other item I'd like to point out here is this red number 1 under my account. So if I go to that, this tells me that I have a message. And so this isn't an email, but it's a message within our system. I'm going to show you later how to send those, but if you ever have a red pop-up here, if I click on messages, you'll see that I have a message here. I can go ahead and click that, open that message, and that's a good way, and I'll show you how to do that in a little while. It's a good way to communicate with team admins, assessors, and that sort of thing. I can also from here see the videos, so if you want to include videos that people either can watch or maybe even are required to watch, you can add those, and this is where they would show up. Nothing in there right now, but you certainly are welcome to do that. I will point out too along the way that this video should get you started, but we're always here to give you a hand and walk you through the setup for the first time and along the way through the season. So that's kind of it from my account. You'll also notice that if I go back to this landing page, we have this blue menu on the top and then this gray menu here. I'm going to start with the gray menu and we'll work to that blue menu in just a bit. So the first item I want to work through in this menu are the forms. And the forms, you'll need to go through each of these forms, make adjustments, save the variables, and then certify them. And I'll kind of show you quickly just what that process will entail. So allowances form, of course, dealing with the variables within the allowances that you may have in your state. I would go through. I would make any changes here that I feel that I need to or that I want to, and then I would click Save. And once I click Save, and I don't want to show you in this team, but if I show you this, here's an example. Once I click Save, I'm going to get this sentence up here. It's going to say click here to certify that these saved variables are now correct. And basically what that's doing is you're saving the variables and then you're certifying, yep, they look good. And then we're going to see in this page, when we go back to our variables, it's going to show that who certified that. So you're going to want to do those steps, going to need to before you move on. Quickly through the other forms that you need to go through. The Alpha Master, of course, relates to the Alpha Master. All these different changes that you can make there, and we'll go through those in depth with you at some point here as the season starts. The appeal form, if you have an appeal process in your state, these are the variables that you can adjust in terms of your appeals. The assessment form, of course, is going to be pretty lengthy. Talks about time windows for when you assess, when you're committing those. Talks about rounding and all those things related to the actual assessments. Season settings is going to be a shorter list. When does your season end? Different types of weight loss that you're using and some rounding in there as well. The weigh-in form, of course, this relates to the weigh-in form that will be used throughout the season. You can adjust those variables. And then finally, your weight loss plan. This is going to adjust and edit and kind of dictate how your weight loss plans look and function. You're going to want to go through all of those things and click Save there. And again, after you click Save, on each of these, you're going to get this sentence. You're going to click to certify to make sure that we know that everything looks good there. Next item as we move along in the gray menu is menus. I won't spend a lot of time here, just let you know that any of the black menus, and if you look, these menus are these menus across here that show up in this blue top menu. But if they're black, those are ones that you can't really edit. If they're blue, you can click on them, make some changes as to how things appear within there. And then the other thing that you can do is change the order in which they appear here. So if I wanted to move settings over to the left, I could bring that to the top, save that order, and I could make some changes. If I wanted to add a menu along here, I can click the add menu button. I can label it to show what it's going to say there. I can link it to something, perhaps it's a website out there that you might want to do it, and then make some other changes there. Just add that, and then that menu will now show up here in the blue menu bar at the top. Next item along this gray menu is growth allowance. So if I click on growth allowance and your state has or uses a growth allowance, you can click the add allowance. You can add the date that I might want that allowance to take place, and maybe it's a 2-pound allowance. Click add, and then now that gets calculated, and you'll see some indicators of that on your weight loss plans and that sort of thing. I can adjust the allowance from here. I can add others if my state uses another one, say in February or something like that. Or if I need to delete that, if that was made an error, if I added that and I don't need it there, I can click on the red X, type delete, and that will go away. Anytime you see a red X along the way in the system, that is almost always something that you can delete. So that will apply in other places. If you don't use a growth allowance, of course, it's not something you'll need to worry about. Under assessments, this is where I, as a governing body admin, can come in and see the assessments that were made within my state. There's nothing in here now, of course, because it's before the season started. So I'm going to go over to our testing environment, and if I click on assessments here, you'll see that now I can access any of those assessments from here. If I search, there's some search variables, some criteria there that I can go ahead, can return a list of just certain things that I want to see. And then, of course, if I click here, I can see more information about each of these wrestlers. So those are the assessments. The search function is probably something that you'll want to put to good use. Next item, if I come back into my regular season, I'm going to skip these two because it's not going to apply to many of you, but I can click on videos. This is where I would add the videos, and I just click the add video button. I can add the YouTube code, some descriptions. I can decide whether I'm going to require somebody to watch it before they go ahead or not, and then I would just go ahead and add that. And again, just to kind of revisit, they would see that here under the video section. So that's how they would find those. Under teams, if I click on teams in the blue menu, we're kind of through this gray menu and we're moving kind of quickly. If I click on teams, this is going to show me a list of the teams within my governing body. Teams, I can search from here. So I can maybe do a search for teams from maybe other states, or maybe I just want to find one team. It's a quick way to get to them. I want to show you this. There's 2 columns as well. So this says season team and this is global team. Fairly self-explanatory for season team. This is the team within the current season that we're working with, which of course for us right now is 14-15 boys. The global team is a team that spans across multiple seasons. So this season team is tied then to a global team. Comes in handy in lots of areas, maybe career stats, definitely within our system. It's a pretty important piece. Your team should all be here when you first log in. We're on our way to doing that now, but if you need to add a team, there's an add team button here that you could use to go ahead and do that. Next item up here I want to touch on are leagues. And a league is basically, it's a group of teams, could be a division or a classification within your state. It could be a conference, maybe a section or a region, something like that. Lots of different ways to use them. But that's where you could, the way to add those would be to go ahead and click the add league. I could type the team name, maybe I'm just going to type it the league. Locked, open or closed, meaning do I want team admins or other people to go in and add these teams, or do I want to just add them? So you can decide how you want to do that. Once I add my league, I can click on it, and then I can add teams from here. And I can select teams and put them in that league. So this isn't really a league that I want in this season, so I can go ahead, there's a red X, I can click it, and I can go ahead and delete that as well. So those are leagues. You can feel free to use those. Some of you will, some of you may not. I want to touch on users next. So if I click on users from this menu, you'll notice that users could be an assessor, a league admin, or a team admin. So the way that you add admins is very similar in each of these. Might be slight differences, but for the most part, and let's just add a team admin, you'll see that I have some assessors here. But if I add a team admin, I can just click the add and then fill out the information. And then go ahead and add that admin. I can also give them a username and password, or I can generate them. It'll be a randomly generated by our system. So it's up to you how you might want to do that. To give you an example, if I come into this testing environment and I go to users and then team admins, you'll notice that now I have, for this team, I have a head coach and an athletic director. So I can go ahead and access those. I can make edits to these if I wanted to. Another very important piece we think is if I wanted to log in as this head coach and see what he's seeing, I could come to this team admins page, move over here to this icon that kind of looks like a person. I click that. It's going to open up a new window, and it's going to log me in as him. So it's going to show me what that coach is going to see. So that's kind of an important part there. The other thing I can do as a governing body admin is I can message these admins that I have. So let's say that I want to send this particular coach a message. I could click his name. I could click the message selected and then type my message in here, hit the send message, and that would send him the message. I could also message everybody by clicking this button, and that would give me the option to message everybody within this list that I'm looking at here. So, and again, if I go back here, once they get the message, they're going to have this this little indicator here that shows them. They can just go to messages, and they'll be able to read that message as well. Two other quick items. If I go over to wrestlers, I can see any wrestlers that are in the system right here, but under wrestlers, which we're not going to see from here. I can show you that here in this testing environment. If I go to wrestlers, so show a list of all the wrestlers. I can click here to get some other information. Shows me some pretty good information about each of them. And also under results, I can quickly see results from within my governing body as well. The last thing I want to show would be the question mark. So if you have questions, if you're not sure where to go, this is a good place to go first. I can click on this question mark. It's going to bring you to kind of this help section. The demo video, you can click here. This video will be linked there, so you can always come back to it. If I click FAQs, it's going to show me FAQs related to you as a governing body admin. And if I click any of these, it'll open a new page, show me how to log in if that's what I wanted to do. And then finally, if you want to contact us directly, you can either click Contact Us here. That takes you into our ticket system. You can submit an email ticket. We read those. We'll respond to those. Great way to get a hold of us if it's not something urgent. If you need us to talk to us personally or need something right away, you can certainly call this number right here. And that's our business line. You can call us, and we are dedicated to handling those questions, making sure that you have all the answers that you need. So that was a quick overview. I know I kind of flew through that, but hopefully that gives you some idea of what the new system looks like, how to navigate, log in, and get started with your season.